Few crimes are as shocking and heartbreaking as those involving mothers who take the lives of their own children. These tragic cases leave us questioning how such unimaginable acts could happen. In this video, we delve into some of the most disturbing stories, exploring the circumstances, motives, and the lasting impact on families and communities. These stories serve as somber reminders of the complexities of the human mind and the fragility of life. Susan Smith, a mother from South Carolina, committed one of the most shocking crimes in 1994. On October 25, she reported that her two young sons, Michael, 3 years old, and Alex, 14 months old, had been abducted by a carjacker. For 9 days, the nation watched as Susan pleaded for their safe return. However, the truth soon came to light. Susan had driven her car into a lake with her children still inside. Susan later confessed to the crime, claiming emotional distress and personal struggles led her to the tragic act. Her case remains one of the most infamous examples of maternal crimes, leaving the nation in shock and sorrow. Diane Downs, a mother from Oregon, shocked the nation in 1983 with a chilling crime against her own children. Late one night, Diane arrived at a hospital with her 3 children, Cheryl, 7 years old, Christy, 8 years old, and Danny, 3 years old, all suffering from gunshot wounds. Tragically, Cheryl did not survive. Diane initially claimed that a mysterious man had attempted to carjack her and shot the children, but inconsistencies in her story led investigators to suspect her involvement. Her surviving daughter, Christy, later testified in court, revealing that Diane was the one who had pulled the trigger. Andrea Yates, a mother from Texas, made headlines in 2001 after a devastating incident involving her 5 children. Struggling with severe mental health issues, Andrea faced challenges that went unnoticed by many around her. One morning, while her husband was away, Andrea made a tragic decision that ended the lives of her children: Noah, 7, John, 5, Paul, 3, Luke, 2, and Mary, 6 months. She later explained her actions were influenced by overwhelming emotional struggles and feelings of helplessness. Andrea was initially sentenced to life in prison, but later found not guilty by reason of insanity and was admitted to a mental health facility. Her story highlights the importance of addressing mental health issues and providing support to those in need. Casey Anthony, a young mother from Florida, became the center of one of the most controversial cases in 2008. Her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee Anthony, was reported missing by Casey's parents, who hadn't seen their granddaughter for over a month. Casey claimed that Kaylee had been taken by a babysitter, but her story was filled with inconsistencies. Months later, Kaylee's remains were found in a wooded area near the family's home, sparking a high-profile trial that captivated the nation. Despite evidence suggesting Casey's involvement, she was acquitted of her daughter's death, leaving the case officially unsolved. The story remains a symbol of public debate over justice and accountability. Casey Anthony, a young mother from Florida, became the center of one of the most controversial cases in 2008. Her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee Anthony, was reported missing by Casey's parents, who hadn't seen their granddaughter for over a month. Casey claimed that Kaylee had been taken by a babysitter, but her story was filled with inconsistencies. Months later, Kaylee's remains were found in a wooded area near the family's home, sparking a high-profile trial that captivated the nation. Despite evidence suggesting Casey's involvement, she was acquitted of her daughter's death, leaving the case officially unsolved. The story remains a symbol of public debate over justice and accountability. Lacey Spears, a mother from New York, became infamous in 2014 for her role in the tragic death of her 5-year-old son, Garnet. Lacey was known for frequently posting about her son's health struggles on social media, gaining sympathy and attention from her followers. However, investigations revealed a darker truth. Lacey had been deliberately feeding Garnet excessive amounts of salt through his feeding tube, leading to his death. Authorities discovered she suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a psychological condition where a caregiver causes illness in someone under their care for attention. Lacey was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Her case highlights the dangers of untreated mental health conditions and the importance of vigilance in protecting vulnerable children. Deborah Green, a former doctor from Kansas, shocked the nation in 1995 with a tragic act that claimed the lives of 2 of her children. Deborah's seemingly perfect life was unraveling due to personal struggles and a contentious divorce. One night, Deborah set fire to her family's home while her children were inside. Timothy, 13, and Kelly, 6, tragically lost their lives in the blaze, while her 3rd child managed to escape. Investigators discovered that Deborah had also attempted to poison her husband with ricin. Deborah was convicted of murder and arson, receiving a life sentence. Her case serves as a grim reminder of how personal turmoil can lead to devastating consequences. Marybeth Tinning, a mother from Schenectady, New York, became infamous in the 1970s and 1980s for the mysterious deaths of her children. Over a span of 14 years, 9 of Marybeth's children passed away under unusual circumstances. Initially, the deaths were attributed to natural causes, but suspicions arose as patterns emerged. In 1985, after the death of her 9th child, authorities investigated and discovered that Marybeth had been intentionally ending the lives of her children. She confessed to smothering one of her children, Tammy Lynn, and was convicted of second-degree murder. Sentenced to 20 years to life in prison, Marybeth's case is a chilling example of maternal betrayal and highlights the importance of recognizing warning signs in such tragic situations. Megan Huntsman, a mother from Utah, horrified the nation in 2014 when it was discovered that she had hidden the remains of 6 of her newborn children in her garage. Over a decade, between 1996 and 2006, Megan secretly ended the lives of her babies shortly after birth. Megan claimed that she was overwhelmed by personal struggles and substance abuse, leading her to make these devastating decisions. Authorities found the remains after her estranged husband stumbled upon one of the boxes while cleaning the garage. Megan was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 49 years. Her case serves as a somber reminder of the importance of addressing mental health and supporting vulnerable individuals before tragedies occur. Deanna Laney, a mother from Texas, was at the center of a tragic case in 2003. Deanna, who was deeply religious, claimed that she had received a message from God instructing her to harm her children. One night, Deanna took the lives of her 2 sons, Joshua, 8 years old, and Luke, 6 years old, and severely injured her youngest son, Aaron, 15 months old. Aaron survived but suffered permanent damage. During her trial, Deanna was found not guilty by reason of insanity and was sent to a mental health facility. Her case highlighted the devastating impact of untreated mental health conditions and the need for compassionate intervention. Michelle Kehoe, a mother from Iowa, became the focus of a tragic case in 2008. Michelle drove her two young sons, Shaquan, 2 years old, and Seth, 7 years old, to a secluded area near a lake under the pretense of a family trip. Once there, Michelle harmed both children, taking Shaquan's life and severely injuring Seth. Despite his injuries, Seth managed to escape and alert authorities, later testifying about what had happened. Amanda Stott-Smith, a mother from Oregon, was at the center of a heartbreaking case in 2009. Late one night, Amanda drove to the Selwood Bridge in Portland with her two young children, Eldon, 7 years old, and Trinity, 4 years old. In a shocking act, she dropped both children into the Willamette River. Eldon tragically lost his life, but Trinity was rescued by a nearby fisherman who heard her cries. Investigators later revealed that Amanda was dealing with severe personal struggles, including a troubled marriage. Amanda was convicted of murder and attempted murder and sentenced to life in prison. Her story remains a tragic reminder of how personal crises can spiral into devastating consequences for innocent lives. Rachel Henry, a 22-year-old mother from Arizona, was involved in a deeply tragic case in January 2020. Rachel took the lives of her 3 young children, Zane, 3 years old, Mireya, 1 year old, and Catalea, 7 months, at their home in Phoenix. According to investigators, Rachel claimed she was overwhelmed by personal struggles and mental health issues at the time. She used methods that were quiet and calculated, as the children's father and aunt were in another room, unaware of what was happening. Rachel was arrested and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Her case highlights the critical importance of early intervention and mental health support to prevent such devastating outcomes. Shaquan Duley, a mother from South Carolina, made headlines in 2010 after a devastating incident involving her 2 young sons. Shaquan, overwhelmed by personal and financial struggles, made a tragic decision that changed her life forever. One morning, Shaquan drove her sons, Devontae, 2 years old, and Javan, 18 months, to a remote area and allowed her car to submerge in a river with the children inside. Initially, she claimed the car had accidentally rolled into the water, but later confessed to her actions. Shaquan was charged with 2 counts of murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison. Her story underscores the importance of providing support to individuals facing overwhelming challenges before tragedy strikes. Susan Eubanks, a mother from California, was involved in a deeply tragic case in October 1997. Susan, overwhelmed by personal struggles and a turbulent relationship, made a devastating decision that shocked her community. One evening, following an argument with her boyfriend, Susan fatally harmed her 4 sons, Brandon, 14, Austin, 7, Brigham, 6, and Matthew, 4. Investigators determined that Susan's actions were fueled by anger and a desire for revenge against her partner. Her case serves as a grim reminder of the consequences of unresolved emotional turmoil and the importance of seeking help during crises.